Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. Let's talk about Nina and Sunny because I'm going to be honest, I actually like this scene. I did. Um, Nina came in to talk to Sunny to see if he was able to get through Michael and Willow as far as, Wiley is concerned. But Sunny was like, yeah, they're not going for it. They pretty much don't want you to see Wiley like ever. Um, Mind you, Sunny has been drinking like there was no tomorrow. So, Nina sees that and, she's like, all right, fine, I understand. And, I'll just sit there and get the lawyers involved and we'll just, handle it the court way. And, Sonny is like, no, listen, I handle it this, that, and third. And in like 3 seconds, he just snaps and flips out and breaks something. At that point, Nina, yeah, she freaks out. She's like, you know what? I'm just gonna like go that way, and we could just like not do this like ever. Um, and Sonny feels bad. It's like, hey, wait, 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 you know me. And Nina was like, no, I knew Mike. And part of me laughed because I was like, yeah, you knew Mike. You didn't know Sonny, but yet, ever since you got back to Port Charles with him, you have been doing nothing but trying to pursue him, always find ways to meet up with him. And it's like you don't know this version. You don't know Sonny. But yet somehow you want to sit there and try to convince yourself that he's like Mike, he's Mike hitting inside or something like that. And I'm like, reality just really slapped you in the face. And for her to sit there and say, well, I knew Mike, it was like, yes, that's what most people have been. That's what most people have been sitting there trying to tell you. That's what Britt and I'm pretty sure maybe Ulbrich have been sitting there saying. Like, you don't know the real Sonny. But yet you want to sit there and try to have this relationship. You want to do all this stuff. Like, what are you doing? So at this point, Sonny feels bad. And, he practically begs her to come back inside. And this is where I'm split about the scene moving forward. Because he starts talking about, he doesn't want to sit there and be like his stepfather, Deke, and all the stuff that he's done, making people afraid of him, drinking way too much, um, just trying to drown out his sorrows and his pain and everything like that through a bottle. He never wanted to sit there and be like Deacon and make people afraid of him, and yet he's doing it, right now. So he feels bad and he starts crying. And part of me split about this. Because part of me is not there feeling like, did you do this way you can make her feel sympathetic and not freak out and like make you look bad or make you feel bad? Like throwing that in there partly made me feel like you threw out some sort of sympathy card. To make her feel bad for you, to make her stay, to make her understand, and to not be afraid of you because this was about you, not about her freaking out about who the hell knows what's gonna happen next. So part of me was like, bro, really? But the other part of me was like, you don't want to, not to really sit there and get anyone's personal life or whatever, but some people don't always have to bring the best upbringing by the best role models. And they don't want to sit there and repeat the same mistakes that their parents or role models or whoever was there made. And doing stuff like that or making those mistakes or actions or whatever makes you feel worse because now you didn't just sit there and freak her out. You did that because of your upbringing. You swore that you never want to sit there and be like, Deke or Deacon, I think that's his name, Deacon. And yet you're doing it. Not only are you feeling bad because you did that to freak her out, because you're not that person, but now on top of that, it's because of the trauma that happened to you when you was a kid, and now you're reflecting that upon other people that you may care about. So part of me was like, damn, that sucks. I really felt for him. Part of me, I was kind of, torn. Um, but towards the end of the episode, Nina was like, listen, you got to sit there and stop the drinking. Like that got to go, because you're not, you're doing all this and apologizing and stuff like that. But what are you going to do moving forward? You know, a lot of the reason why he was sitting there drinking because you found out that Jason was declared dead. He's losing his best friend, his kids, or Michael doesn't really want to sit there and talk to him. He lost his wife, and all the people that he cared about is pretty much just kind of moving away from him. So he's doing what he feels he knows was best, and that's drinking. And granted, we can always sit there and make the argument of, the choices that you did when you came back led to all this, you know? So it's like, how bad should I feel for you? You know? And part of the reason why Sonny's character has been pissing me off a little bit, what has been pissing me off, it's not so much as the mistakes that he's made. It's the fact that he doesn't learn from them. Every character makes mistakes, and we can all sit there and point out the dumb stuff that they do, but when they don't sit there and learn from them, this is, well, for me personally, this is where I draw, this is where I actually have a problem. He hasn't really sat there and taken accountability for why his marriage ended the way it did. For why his family felt betrayed. He keeps sitting there making an excuse of, oh, I came back and, Jason died and I had to sit there and get used to them being married and then he died and then I was going to sit there and talk. Whenever he starts with that, it just makes me roll my eyes. It's like, bro, you didn't learn a damn thing. I don't care how many mistakes a person makes to an extent, but if you don't learn from them, what the hell are you doing? But he does pour out the alcohol. He says he's just going to be a social drinker and, you know, um, and he's not going to really drink in the house and he's going to kind of just like slow down again. And I'm not going to get into the whole AA thing and how some people just really probably shouldn't be drinking. But, given the events that's going on in his life, even though he could have controlled some of them, it's kind of leading him to drink a little bit extra. So, yeah, there's that. Another one of my favorite scenes. I'm not gonna lie, this episode actually was good. It was good. Was Trina and Spencer. Because Trina, when she walked in there and she was like, yo, listen, this is the last time we're gonna see each other. It's because she realized that Spencer has compromised her, has made her be someone that she's not, someone that she's lying, and she lied to cover, Spencer when he came back to town and all the stuff that he was doing. She lied to the commissioner about him, um, you know, lied to the commissioner for him, covered for him. And she even said, listen, if things would have went sideways, I would have been screwed. My life, my future, all my plans that I had would have been donezo. You would have been fine, but me, she would have been screwed. And I think that's part of the reason why she wanted to sit there and just distance herself from him. Part of the reason. Also, Esmond. And, Spencer, despite the fact that he even knows, that he feels, because Trina was like, you know that I didn't do it. And you know most likely that she did it, but you're still not going to sit there and walk away. It's starting to take her mother's advice as far as getting rid of toxic people. And it's kind of interesting because some people don't learn that lesson until way later on in their years. But she's kind of starting to get the hint now, which is why she's starting to make a clean break. And they do this in this way of talking about themselves and talking about this art book and this artist and stuff like that. But I mean, it's plain as day. Now, of course, Esme is hearing the whole thing. She does something with a phone, with her phone or Trina's phone. I can't remember exactly what it was. Anyway, she winds up, she gets so angry at listening to him talk because, Spencer's like, please don't leave me. Just give me some time and time. I'm not going to lie. When he said, just give me some time and, what is time going to do? What are you doing, bro? I mean, exactly the reason why it's just like, it's hard for me to sit there and like Spencer really because it's like he's making these bad choices and he keeps me to saying that, oh, well, Esme is the only person I have. Trina's like, send her ass packing. Send her back to France or whatever the hell she's from. But, Spencer being Spencer, the weak minded boy that he is, like, no, I can't do that, yada, 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 and gives more excuses. And Esme want to call some sort of tip hotline and, reporting Trina. So now at this point, somebody told me that this is going to be the last time that we see this actress that plays Trina. You have to sit there and wait until tomorrow, maybe on Monday, to find out the new Trina. Yeah. It's one of those things where it's like, people are going to be very split down the middle. Some people are going to be like, I can't stand her, and like, oh, I love her. And then they're going to be arguing in the comment section. It's so bad. I guess we'll just sit there and see when she comes. What else we got? Carly and Britt. Carly and Britt. Here's the thing about this scene with Carly and Britt. Carly was going through a lot with her daughter, Jason's death, because, Britt told her that Monica declared her son dead, did it for the kids. So that way they won't be in limbo. Carly feels like, yo, it's been like 3 months. Like, really? She feels like that's just giving up. Britt tries to comfort her and she's meant to talking about, she missed Jason for this, that, and the third. And Britt tries to comfort her. Says something about memories. I can't exactly remember the entire conversation. But there's a point where Carly just kind of snaps at her and kind of, degrades the meaning that Britt felt for um, Jason, talking about, oh, their relationship was just like a memory or something like that. Something that was just like, really? And then, yeah, Carly apologizes and says that she's dealing with a lot and grief and this, that, and the third. I know that some people want to give people who are grieving, people who are just having a bad day, a certain allowance, a certain, you know, leeway. But here's the thing, though. And I know that maybe I'm just being a little harsh, but your grief doesn't justify you being nasty and cruel to someone else because you're angry. So when she said, I apologize for this, that, and the third, and Britt did sit there and forgive her because she's just being a better person about it, I would have just took the exact opposite. I literally would have took the exact opposite. And I probably would have just told her to kick rocks and just handle your crap on your own. And that would have been that. Because again, you're grieving, you're doing this, that, and the third, and I get that. But it doesn't give you carte blanche to sit there and be cool to somebody else because you're having a bad day. You're a grown ass woman, and while I understand you're going through stuff, yeah, no, I'm not giving that. I'm not giving that leeway. Jordan does come by and she says, sorry for your loss and this, that, and the third. Um, she says thank you and she walks off. And Britt decides to reopen her account as far as the matchmaking thing goes. I'm gonna be honest. In some ways, I give some of these writers credit because they got to sit there and kind of flip stories on the fly. You know, this whole Jason being gone, Jason being dead, this, that, and the third. Would have went totally different if different choices are made. And they had to sit there and scramble and come up with the best storyline that they could moving forward. And I gotta sit there and give them credit for that. And I'm gonna sit there and just sidebar it for 1 minute. Because I'm watching a show called Legacies, which is actually just now getting good. And he had to sit there and take a bit of a break because one of the actresses left. They kind of had to sit there and change some storylines around. But the point is, they actually had time to do it because they're not a show that goes Monday through Friday. So they was able to sit there and take time and kind of rewrite some stuff. So regardless of how people feel about the story moving forward with Jason not being there and this, that, and the third, and as much as I like to sit there and complain about the writers being kind of lazy, which they can be, I gotta sit there and give them credit where credit's due. There's some scenes with Jordan and Portia, Portia asking Jordan Portia asking Jordan, Spencer, like a risk for my daughter, pretty much. But then she kind of takes it back because she is freaking out. And she does talk to Curtis, and, Portia was pretty much like she wanted to literally sit there and wail on Esme because, Esme is not there pointing the finger at Trina for the whole sex tape thing. Talking about how, Spencer is bad news, and, Trina should sit there and let them both go. Because she was a different person. She's being a different person now than she was before she met them. But Curtis is like, listen, I dealt with stuff like that when I was a kid. I didn't listen. I had to pretty much hit rock bottom. And kind of got to sit there and just let whatever happens, happens. So she agrees, and that pretty much ends that. Now, Carly, I got to sit there and talk this in a different way. So Drew winds up meeting up with Victor. And, Drew's like, why do we have to sit there and meet in this area to talk about stocks for ELQ? So eventually, he calls out Johan because Johan's there. And Victor activates the card. Now, Dante and Sam are in the car, but they couldn't really hear what was going on. So they had to sit there and move the van closer. I thought, I'm not going to lie, I kind of thought that they couldn't hear the conversation between Drew and Victor because and they have like these scramblers or whatever. And I thought that's why, but no, they just had to sit there and move the van closer. Oh, okay. Um. So Victor, shows the card, and Drew acts like he is, you know, faking being mind controlled. So Victor's like, I'm not exactly convinced. Why don't you sit there and throw this man off the bridge? I'm not gonna lie, I laughed. I was like, wow, loyalty. So Drew proceeds to do that, and Dante's like, yo, I gotta stop this. But Sam's like, no, you gotta sit there and trust me. Even though you're a cop and you probably shouldn't do it, you should sit there and trust me because I trust Drew. Okay, bro. I hope you don't have to sit there and make any more of those decisions moving forward with Sam. Good luck with that. But to be fair, he's probably been playing fast and loose with Sonny for a while, so who knows. But anyway, they agree, let Drew just kind of carry out this whole thing. So Drew is literally about to sit there and push this man over the edge, and Victor stops it. And Victor's like, all right, I need information about a certain project or whatever. And just as this whole thing is about to go down, Carly comes in with a phone and is like, yo, I'm recording this whole thing. You need to sit there and stop this. And Sam and Dante are like, "Are you serious right now?" So Victor's like, "All right, take away her phone." At this point, Drew has to sit there and break cover and be like, "Oh, you're not gonna do that." And then Victor's like, "All right, you were really faking it. All right, well, we'll see you again." So they leave. At this point, Drew's like, "That's what you just did." But he didn't want to sit there and unload on her because he realized that she didn't know what was going on. So when Sam and Dante come in there, they're about to be like, "Carly, what are you doing?" And Drew kind of defends her like, "Hey, listen, to be fair, she didn't really know what was going on." So now they got a piece of what Victor Smith they're looking for. Of course, they were just gonna get a piece. Like, why would they get like the whole damn thing? Um, they got something to go on. So it's more breadcrumbs and probably some more people being kind of disappointed that this story is not wrapping up faster. But whatever, it's a soap opera, and I've kind of realized that kind of like the Nixon Falls thing when I was getting really annoyed and angry and just like all this other stuff. I kind of got to realize that it's not like it's a show. It's like a show that you watch once a week. It can kind of stretch these things out sometimes. The problem is they stretch it out a little bit too far, and then people get impatient. So, oh, and there's some annoying ass journalists or guy with a phone. I feel like I feel like at that point they were like making fun of millennials. I really do. Um, and I can't be mad because sometimes we do stuff like that. Not to that extent, but anyway, the guy was there following around Jordan, there talking about the revenge porn thing, and Jordan was like, "Hey, listen, when I know you know, you contact one of our people, and we'll go from there." I think this is about it. Now, something I do want to sit there and say is because I know there's a lot of people that there's some people that don't like this whole sex tape thing. You need to kind of get it over with, and this, that, and the third. And I kind of look at this like it is a PSA. PSA, and sometimes with PSAs, they don't always speak to everyone, but it doesn't mean that it's not important. I was watching a clip on their official GH, YouTube web thing, and one of the comments at the bottom was, somebody was talking about it happened to them, and they were glad that GH was kind of shining a light on it about the importance of like cyberbullying and stuff like that, and revenge porn and stuff. So while I get that some people don't like it and they don't really like PSAs, because that's literally what it is, more or less. You just have to sit there and remember that sometimes the message may not be for you, but it still is important. And you know, even though I was sitting there watching Days, and they were sitting there at a character was sitting there coming out about their sexuality. Now, just because the message, it may not hit me, it doesn't mean it's not important. So I just kind of want to sit there and say that, because I know a lot of people are like, oh, I don't really like this story, and yada, yada, yada. But it is good, and it is important. And we'll just sit there and leave it at that. I'm not going to lie, I feel like that's about it. There's a lot of people, though. And sometimes I still got to sit there and kind of realize that I have to be confident in my work as far as me doing a complete review. And also kind of realize that if I mess up on something, it's not the end of the world. Um, so yeah, with that being said, I'm gonna go. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next video.